The early April sun dipped low over the Redstone plains, casting long shadows across the 200-acre Texas ranch, the lake shimmering in the distance, its surface reflecting the fading light. Wildflowers along the pasture's edge trembling in the evening breeze, their vibrant yellows and purples glowing softly, ancient oaks standing tall, their gnarled branches heavy with history. The air thick with the scent of cedar and fresh hay, cattle lowing softly in the fields, their calls carrying a restless edge. John Parker, 54, sat on the porch, his Stetson resting beside him. Sipping coffee, the red barn and snare shed glowing in the dusk, the burn scar on his forearm a quiet reminder of battles fought, the wildflowers enduring despite the storms that had come before. John had built this life through grit, 120 acres of freedom earned after years of struggle, no bosses, no 3 a.m. wake-ups, just him, his cattle, his old tractor, and the silence that untangled his nerves. But peace was fleeting. The RDC, thought defeated after Karen Blake's ousting in episode 60, had returned under Denise Harper. A new president with a ruthless agenda. It started with a sign, cheap white plastic zip-tied to John's fence. Notice, property under review, Redstone Development Council compliance required. John staring at it, confused, yanking it down, tossing it into the burn pile, thinking it was a prank, his first mistake, underestimating Denise's ambition, the lake glowing silver in the dusk. It's come a stark contrast to the storm brewing, the wildflowers along the fence trembling in the breeze, the plains stretching wide and unbroken, their roots deep in the Texas soil. The next day, a beige SUV rolled up the gravel drive, Denise stepping out, teal slacks crisp, mirrored shades hiding her eyes, a clipboard clutched like a weapon. She didn't scan the land. She sized John up. "Hi there," she chirped, all sugar. John wiping grease off his hands, leaning on the fence. "Can I help you?" "I'm Denise Harper, RDC president, here to welcome you." John blinking. "RDC?" Her smile widening. "Redstone Development Council. We uphold aesthetic and ecological standards across properties." John laughing. "This is a ranch. The only standard here is keeping cattle alive." Denise unfazed. "Our bylaws govern fence height, building types, animal counts, noise levels. We're in an awareness phase, but citations start next month." John's voice hard. "You can't cite a cow." Denise syrupy. "We don't cite the cows, just their owners." Handing him a manila envelope. "Welcome packet, action required." Strutting off, the wildflowers along the drive trembling in the breeze. The plains stretching wide and unbroken, their roots deep in the Texas soil. Inside were pages of nonsense, fake rules, diagrams of the barns circled in red, photos of John's fence from odd angles. His windmill labeled a visual obstruction. John burning the packet, but 2 days later, bigger signs appeared, laminated, nailed tight, one stapled to the barn. Under enforcement review, violations pending, John ripping them down, then 2 men in matching vests with RDC patrol patches arrived, pacing the fence with walkie-talkies. One pointing at the tractor, muttering into his mic. John stepping off the porch. "Something I can help you with?" The taller one stammering. "We're conducting a compliance sweep under RDC protocol." John stepping closer. "Got a badge?" "We operate under the Redstone Charter." John firm. "You're trespassing under the Parker Ranch Charter. Get out." They left, but one dropped a clipboard. "Maps. Property lists, red XS." John's tagged Alpha, high resistance, the lake shimmering faintly, its comma beacon of the fight ahead, the wildflowers enduring, their roots deep in the Texas soil. John snapped a photo, calling Matt, his tech-savvy crew member. "Ever heard of this RDC operation?" Matt digging. "Denise tried to find a feed store last year, called it a visual blight." "This isn't random." John's setting up defenses, motion sensors, trail cams, floodlights, nothing lethal, just enough to send a message. The next move came before dawn, the sky black, wind still. Even the cattle quiet, but a gravel snap broke the silence, too heavy for breeze, too light for a rig. John listening, boots on, coffee in hand, shadows arcing near the barn where the cattle slept. A voice crackling over a radio. "Team Beta in position, begin sweep." Target presumed armed but compliant under Phase 1. John smirking, slipping into his coat, thumbing the light trigger. The wildflowers along the barn trembling in the breeze, the plains stretching wide and unbroken, their roots deep in the Texas soil. They breached the second fence, cocky, until one tripped a wire. Click. Then boom, not a blast, But light and noise, floodlights blazing, sirens wailing, the barn glowing, two hit the dirt, one yelping, diving behind a trough, another slamming into the cattle pen. A steer charging, knocking him flat, John strolling onto the porch, morning, gentleman, planning to knock, the clipboard leader standing. We're acting under RDC Emergency Code 5B to seize non-compliant property. John raising an eyebrow. Emergency Code 5B? That come with crayons? The man doubling down. We're authorized by community vote to remove illegal structures, reclaim misused land, protect property values. Another raising a taser. This is a citizen enforcement zone. John stepping down. You're in my yard, armed, threatening seizure with fake laws, snatching the folder, pages marked draft, one with a coffee stain. This looks like a kid's tantrum. The lake glowing silver in the dawn, it's come a testament to the trap sprung, the wildflowers enduring, their roots deep in the Texas soil. Tires crunch gravel, Sheriff Bill rolling in. Lights flashing, Denise's crew freezing, one still dodging the steer, Bill squinting. Parker, what's this mess? John nodding, RDC SWAT team, opening night. Bill turning to them, hands up. Drop the clipboards, one sputtering. We're under civilian compliance jurisdiction. Bill ripping off a badge. This says compliance officer level 3. Lucky it doesn't say parking attendant. Flipping through their binder, color-coded charts. Ranks, rules, class 1 violation. Fence tilt, class 2. Unauthorized cattle, class 3. Grumpy owner, slamming it shut. I've seen book clubs with less structure, one blurting. Denise told us to enforce it. Bill glancing at John. 3 arrests, 2 citations, 1 report filed. The real find a list in the binder. Names, John's in red, obstructionist, high threat, others crossed out, Bill whistling. You know these folks? John grim, neighbors, 2 sold out this year, 1 vanished. The wildflowers along the barn trembling in the breeze, the plains stretching wide and unbroken, their roots deep in the Texas soil. That night, a letter hit John's mailbox, certified. Denise suing for disrupting a sanctioned community action, obstructing volunteer enforcers, thwarting cooperative land reclamation. A name inside catching John's eye, Tom, his old crew member. Labeled informant, power flipping switches fast, Denise doubling down, flyers staked into the ground across Redstone, one with a drone shot of John's ranch, Zone C, non-compliant high risk. Bullet points, unauthorized livestock, illegal fence layout, hostile to officers, the kicker, subject refuses reintegration, avoid contact, neighbors turning cold, the feed store jacking prices. A family posting online. We stand for order. If you're not with us, you're against us. Denise holding a rally in the town square, a mic, a sign. Emergency compliance briefing, Tier 2 response. John watching, 15 attending. Some in RDC vests, Denise declaring, we're under attack from within, waving John's photo. This man's defied 3 review cycles, threatened officers. Rejected dialogue, John yelling. You think a cow at dawn's a felony. Denise ignoring him. Effective now, we're isolating him. No contact, no support. The crowd nodding. The lake shimmering faintly, its a beacon of the resistance forming, the wildflowers enduring, their roots deep in the Texas soil. That night, a laminated notice hit John's box, Tier 3. Critical non-compliant, orders, remove cattle, paint barn beige, attend re-education, John gagging at the thought, then his trail cams died, wires cut, Bill checking, who else knows where they are? A gray sedan idling nearby, no plates, peeling out when John approached, registered to Horizon Community Group, Denise's front, then tragedy struck, Ethan finding Daisy, a calf, by the barn. Hoof bloody, glass in the cut, shards placed, not dropped, John carrying her inside. I've got you, Bill sweeping. This was no accident. She's crossed a line. John going public. Posting raid footage, fake warrants, flyers, Daisy's wound, the RDC rulebook, caption, when the RDC plays FBI, it blew up. 300,000 views in a day, others chiming in. Same tricks elsewhere. Denise's online supporters ghosting, half her team quitting, the wildflowers along the barn trembling in the breeze, the plains stretching wide and unbroken, their roots deep in the Texas soil. 2 days later, Denise stood at John's door, no clipboard, just a folder. You think this is about cattle? You think it ends with me? leaning in, voice low. You've stirred something bigger. Handing it over. Inside, emails, memos, regional initiative, rural behavior control phase 2, government seals, names John knew, old contacts, his name, primary resistance node. This wasn't local, it was federal. John staring at the folder 6 hours. He'd seen this overseas, reshaping towns under soft power. Now here, delivered by Denise. Bill arriving, John sliding it over. She gave it. Said I'd kick something unstoppable. Bill calling Clara Evans, the county attorney, a no-nonsense woman, verifying, real stamps, real program, asking John, you knew this? I knew the architects, the state moving fast, warrants, 5 cases tied to Denise, fraud, impersonation, land grabs. She was a pawn, not the mastermind. The wildflowers along the house trembling in the breeze, the plains stretching wide and unbroken, their roots deep in the Texas soil. They hit Denise's place. She smirked at the warrant. You're wrong, you first. Her study holding fake ledgers, a hidden room with binders, maps, a whiteboard, John's barn on a screen, files detailing him, wakes 4:30, feeds by 5, lights on late, defiant. 6 other names, some gone, some broken, a map spanning 3 counties, pins marking targets, Bill stepping back. This is mind games, not RDC. Charges hitting harassment, fraud, surveillance. Conspiracy, her lawyer calling it community unity, Bill calling it a cult, neighbor Pete knocking that night, ashamed. I didn't know it'd go this far, she said we'd be next. The last hard drive cracking open, files on 7 properties, drones, audio, John's chats with Bill. They wanted him tracked, predicted, erased, one signature, an old Intel contact, now in DC. Phase 4 encrypted, titled Contingency. The lake glowing silver in the night. Its calm a testament to the truth uncovered, the wildflowers enduring, their roots deep in the Texas soil. At 4:12 a.m., a drone buzzed, marking a black X near John's fence. Then they came. 3. No lights, rifles, the clipboard leader speaking. Seizure protocol. Your forfeit under Clause C7. John tapping his watch, barriers rising, strobes flashing, flashbangs popping. They crumpled. Bill rolling up, weapons down, 7 surrendering, 1 whispering. Phase 4 isn't you. You're the model. A photo showing Denise amid 10. Phase 4 Unit 8. More waiting. John staring at a drive labeled Grayson. Bill saying, not yet. It was operational. Rural management. John's old reports twisted, Grayson's voice in a file. You showed us resistance, and how to crush it. John blowing the whistle, federal complaint, every file public. Hearings launched, the program shut down. Denise facing jail, the wildflowers along the fence trembling in the breeze, the plains stretching wide and unbroken, their roots deep in the Texas soil. Things quieted, Daisy limping but guarding the barn, cattle lowing, fences standing, but a hidden email lingered. Reassignment, Midwest Beta coordinates, Phase 4 shifting, not dying. The crew gathering, coffee steaming, Ethan sketching Daisy. You stopped, Grandpa, John nodding. For now, Sarah's hand on his. You're a fighter, their bond deeper, Frank saying. Grayson's still out there, Matt adding. He's got more units. Tom by the window. Ridge is active 6 riders. John firm. We'll watch the horizon, not for them, but the next fight. The lake glowing gold as dawn broke, the plains stretching wide, wildflowers enduring, their roots deep in the Texas soil, the conspiracy exposed, but the battle far from over.